Is RePenWolf-Gaming, and welcome back to Roadwarden. The blood carries the soul, blood is power. I love these little passages that we get when we enter into the game. Pretty sweet. Though where we last left off, we were a little bit of trouble because we couldn't make any more money. Our vitality was super low, and we're getting tired. We couldn't escort this guy because we had like 0 vitality. But we couldn't get vitality because we couldn't rest because we had like no money, right, to stay in a hotel of some sort. Let's go ahead and eat us a ration. Can't use your inventory right now. We can step away from this guy real quick. Can we use it now? Eat food ration, increase your nourishment by 2. Yeah, we'll do that. And we've been getting unlucky because every time we go to this guard, we weren't able to, what's it called? Get free food from him, right? Let's check our inventory real quick. Yeah, we previously bought a wooden lantern that we didn't have a use for. And we ran pretty low on dragon bones, which is not great. That's all I need. We can't seem to sleep here, not yet anyway. Or maybe we have to get out of this question here. Maybe we can sleep here now. No, go to the well. We don't need to get cleaned up. Our vitality. So let's just go back to the Howler's Dell real quick. Oh, is my sound off for this game? It might be. The game sounds so much better with music, you know? There we go. Maybe some of you guys are here for just my voice and all that, but let's listen to this relaxing music of this quiet, peaceful town of milk and honey. The land of milk and honey. You know, they got something great here going. They got fields. There are bountiful trees that are giving fruit. Their town is safe, and they wish not for more. Anything else is just extra. But let's go talk to the tailor. I need your services. In 15 minutes, your outfit needs no work. I think we fixed it up before. This would be paid for. With when we had 6 coins, I'm gonna say. He won't do anything else for us. But if we want fancy clothes, which I was reading a little bit about how to make more money, and I mean that's a little bit of cheating along the way, but this helps you get more appearance, right? Gets you better deals and things like that. So it's something to keep in mind. I didn't want this run to end because I was being, dumb. Let's go talk to the guards. She's waiting to learn more about the raids in the north. No, that's not what I want. It's too late to ask the locals about work, so we can only do that in the morning. So maybe we should just do a little bit of exploring before we come back, and then, what's it called? Take a rest so we can help out that guy in the ruins. So let's travel again. We'll go north. Why not? The locals keep the beasts at distance, I guess. Oh, wait. Let me read the top here. The road is beaten and free of litter. You notice paths between the fruit-bearing trees on your right. And soon after that, you ride alongside vast fields of broad beans, almost ready for the second harvest of the summer. Then there are the green hemp plants, taller than you are, waiting for a scythe or sickle. The locals keep the beasts at a distance, I guess. Lamb's hooves thump loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that the soil here is fertile. The plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you see the mountain peaks dividing the lowlands from the ocean. The road east leads towards the hills, behind which there are usually tall, dark trees. There's a dense forest in the north, from which you hear the croaking of toads. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi. Yet the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. Now we have 4 signs here to read on the road from the western, eastern, northern, and southern directions, the cardinal directions. We'll just go from the top of the list, which is western. It has 2 planks attached to a single post, both of them nailed with rusty steel. The lower side is divided into 2 halves. The left edge is engraved with 4 simple shapes, squares with a roof-like lines hanging above them. The other edge bears 2 engraved piles, one of them made of horizontal rectangles, the other of inexact circles. You don't recognize the letters between the 2 piles. The upper plank is covered with 2 short words, drawn in white paint, and right below them an engraved vertical rectangle and hourglass inside of it. What? You didn't tell me there was going to be a puzzle here on signs telling, hey, we got some pictograms of circles, squares, and triangles here, you know. Inexact circles. I mean, we can't read these signs, I don't think. Yeah, this one has like... The middle has 1 square, but also a simple horizontal symbol of a fish and a short word beneath it, which you don't recognize. The image on the right has 2 roofed squares, but also 2 other images which you recognize easily, a deer and a standing barrel. So maybe this is kind of telling us, like, there's fish and deer ahead in this one, right to the north. Let's go look at the western sign again. This one says 2 engraved piles, one of them a horizontal rectangle, the others inexact circles. So maybe graves, maybe, I want to say. Hourglass inside. Huh. Let's check out the southern post, I guess. It's covered with green, blue, and white paint that portrays simple squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. Each square has a large letter inside it, though you don't recognize them. Nevertheless, the pictures are not too old. No other words or marks. So those are like houses again. Which one did we not see yet? That one? We saw the western, eastern, northern. This is the... It portrays a city-like gate with a watchtower to its left and right, and a couple of small conifers growing besides partially behind the towers. Okay. Each square has a large letter inside it. You don't recognize them, nonetheless, but you're not too old. Okay, let's just search the area. I don't understand these signs particularly. I'm sure they mean something, like to a simpleton, unlike me, who's like worse than that. The thicket doesn't help. You notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them are already rotting, spread close to the wood stools at the side of the road. The nearby creek is not impressively deep. The beaver dam, for some reason taller than you are, makes it wide and waters the surrounding soil. A few steps away from the southern signpost, you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plank covered by fungi. You try to move it with a stick and a gloved hand. After a minute or so, you confirm it's an abandoned sign covered with green letters and color pictures of flowers and trees. Try to find out where the old sign used to be attached. Take a look at the other destroyed sign. Let's focus on these signs. The southern post is the only one with holes left by nails. Okay. Take another look at the destroyed sign. It's covered with green flowers, blah blah blah. We already saw that. Search the area some more. You're sure there's nothing more to be found? Okay, well, what time is it? We spent an hour here, apparently, on some signs. And to the left here was like those grave markers. To the north here we had deer and fish. Deer and fish sounds great. We could always use a better like food resource here. Some parts of the road lead uphill, some downhill, and the forests are lush but not too dark. The few foraging deer and boars keep their distance, and the birds are disinterested in your presence. The singing and cheerful preening of their feathers, sounds of an ongoing hunt, reach you from the east. But none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. Once you get farther north, the colorful meadow reveals tall hills on the other side of the stream, but the road leads through a valley. There's a gentle plume of smoke coming from one of the mountains in the west. It doesn't look like a place on fire. Maybe there's a settlement in the mountains. Okay. It's good to know. Oh, it sounds like flies. Something dead, right? The road leads to a gentle creek filled with the buzzing of flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. You don't spot any critters among the tall meadows, tree branches, or rocky slope. Seeing the shapeless dark vortex of wings, lamb snorts. You are currently on the southern bank. I ride forward with the blazing torch to try to disperse them. It will take some time, but I'll wrap myself up with every piece of clothing I own. I don't care, I just hurry lamb. I'm gonna look for a different route. I mean, sure, they're blocking our path. We're not trying to get dirty right now. The path is barely squeezed between the hills with no signs of settlements or game trails. The grass is too tall and dense to allow you safely ride through the wilderness. You won't reach the other bank without entering the swamp. The swarm. Oh man. How much time do we have? 3 hours. Let's wrap ourselves up. It takes you longer than you would hope for, but you manage. We spent 30 minutes covering ourselves. It takes you longer than you would hope for, but you would manage to cover yourself with an armor of at least 3 layers of linen, leather, and wool, and hemp. Only your eyes and a single finger remain without cover. Once you get closer to the ford, countless creatures beset you, making you instantly shut your eyes. They are striking the clothes, covering your open mouth, and hitting your shell like a squishy, buzzing hail. You ride forward blindly, trying to get out of here as fast as you can, but the insects stick with you for another few minutes. The red marks on your finger start to burn slowly. Lamb swishes its tail angrily and turns its head to its left, observing you with one reproachful eye, pinning its ears back. You look around to make sure nothing will try to jump on you, and once you decide you're safe, you take off the suit. Once you find an easier way to protect yourself, the insects will keep slowing you down. At least I keep my blood. Our horse doesn't like us very much right now. Let's keep traveling. So we made it across the river, the ford. Let's keep going. Oh, gross. Most of the time you're surrounded by yellow meadows. The trees on your left get sparser, but the few lonely birches on your right still bear the signs of tapping, marked with knife cuts, tied with cords. Some of them still carry wooden vessels as if they were simply abandoned, maybe last spring, maybe before that. A few of the trees are already dried out, and the winds manage to knock them down. As you get closer to the crossroads, the ground gets muddy. The beaten path avoids the wetlands as much as it can. The screeches and hisses mixed with the buzzing of insects. As you reach a small pond, there are signs of blood on its bank. The air is moist and heavy and has a hint of rotting meat to it. Better to avoid the bogs when nighttime approaches. Such places rarely have fine roads. Whoa, what was that sound? That doesn't sound great. We dangerously trek forward. The trees and brushes are sparse here. I see like a cart here with boxes on the road. That's different. And there's like bogs are darker than forests. Local creatures start their hunt up to an hour earlier. Oh. So we don't want to be here a whole hour, so we might want to turn back here, actually. Growing from the barren grassland, some of them bear late summer fruits, okay. A group of wayfarers is spread around the broken signpost and the abandoned cart. They're skinny but healthy and are standing upright. They're wearing humble, dim gambesons on top of their hemp tunics and pants. All of them worn, in some cases undyed, while the others are dark green or brown. 4 of these individuals wear cloaks, carry lit lanterns, and are armed with spears, bows, and stone maces. On their necks, wrists, and belts, you spot small talismans, fangs, bones, wooden beads, and leather straps. There's also the 5th figure, standing a bit in the back, with lowered shoulders. Unlike the others, they're hooded, and in such a manner that you doubt they can see anything other than their boots. The clothes are shabby, torn, but your eyes mostly run to their club, a bow as long as its owner, as tall as thick as his leg, resting with one end on the ground. You get closer, and the person raises the weapon with just one arm, but another traveler gestures for them to stop, and they do so right away, freezing in place. I want to stay in the saddle just in case. The man behind the gesture doesn't approach you, just nods. Bogs aren't safe for us, but even less a stranger. 'Tis even fall, and if far from roofs. Better keep moving. You'll find an inn soon. You try to digest the thick accent. He's broad-shouldered with a large belly. With the scars on his face sculpt an image of someone who's earned their share of food with many skirmishes. He doesn't reach for his weapon, and pushes one of his companions closer to the cart. She kneels by an empty box and looks inside it. The man observes you with little curiosity, holding his lantern high in the air. I'm gonna pause right there. Hey, and we're back. Okay. Now we had a couple of options to choose here. We can be friendly with the man. These, not just the man, but like this whole group of people who got and out at their cart need any help. Nice place for a camp. The air is a bit smelly though. Greetings. I look at the gigantic club. Hold your weapons close. If it makes you feel safer. I show them my own blade. I don't mind. Wow. Glad you're not highwaymen. Let's nod at the cart. Need any help? Makes an annoyed grimace. Not really. 'Tis timber is sickening, moldy and wet. We're checking on the place, but it seems 'tis a bad year for it. He looks at his companions, who simply shrug and spread to take a look at the cart. All but the one with the bow, who doesn't move an inch. I can't say I've seen him. I can't say I've time to loaf. You have questions? Ask, but be quick. Don't put us to sleep. Is this your cart? In a way, my neighbor's. You then hear one of the women proudly claiming that it belongs to her uncle. The man doesn't allow you to dig into this topic. We used to carry wood and plants from here to the village, but eventually there was not a thing to carry, and 'twas was left for another day. 'Tis trash now. What makes this place so special? It used to be a forest garden. My great-grandparents started it to harvest various fruits and sap from birches, but those were other days and the roads. There's nothing for the value left, and no time or strong folks to take care of the land. I want to say he has maybe like a Scottish accent, but I can't do one. Are you from around here? Very much so, and you're new to these roads. You know our home. No clue. White Marshes, 'tis there. Looks at the crossroad leading east. An old place, plenty of stories there, but they rarely reach the ears of strangers, especially these days. Or maybe Irish? I don't know. I'm looking for a place to trade. We don't welcome many travelers, nor hope to see more of them, especially adventurers. And we need all the lumber we can cut. He frowns. We've herbs, I guess. What can you bring? Just dragon bones. Beyond, not too helpful. Merchants come to us maybe once a year, at least since. He thinks for a moment, then sighs. We've most for what we need, other than iron, steel, bronze. Bring those, we'll welcome you. He then stretches out and gets closer to the signpost, using a spear as a walking stick. We'll stay safe, stranger. He raises his voice and addresses his companions. We wasted too much time on to froth time to get back. The others prepare their own weapons and join their guide. The one with the bow stays silent until a gentle gesture commands them to follow. They keep up with the rest of the group, dragging the club behind themselves with remarkable strength. Yeah. I guess we could have chose other options there. I didn't really read too far. But we should probably... it's too dangerous to stay out here. if we did, we'd lose a heart, which we don't want to do. So let's get out of here. And go back to Howler's Dell. Travel time 2:30. So we'll do that. You can't get there before nightfall. That's not good. Travel time 2. Let's keep traveling. So to get attacked in the woods. Travel time 30. I'm currently here. I guess we gotta seek shelter. Oh no. Alright. We're out of hearts. That's not good. It's nighttime. Let's go to sleep. We gotta maybe mess ourselves up, I think. The sounds of rain wake you up briefly before you return to sleep. You think about your plans. Riding in the mud is difficult. Then we'll have a rough time, especially on the unpaved grounds. Maybe a good day to take a break at an inn. It's a calm, warm night. As your first sleep ends, you stretch out and prepare yourself for an active hour or two. It's time to take care of some things that must be done at least once every few days. Though they are a bit more challenging than your mighty routine. It's time for my training. I practice cuts, stances, dodges, and stats, but also inspect every blade I own. So we got our half a heart back. I asked the guard to look in the mirror. Nah, we don't need to do that. I'm too tired to offer my services. Great. Shit, I don't want to spend 2 gold to do this. Let's just go traveling more. We messed up already. Because I went too far in our travels, apparently. We couldn't make it back because of 15 minutes. That sucks. I may just like... okay, let's go right here then. If we had a potion, maybe we could have like... the corridor of leaves and gray rocks lead you to a gate large enough for a wagon, held together by a wooden bar. The planks are rocks covered with claw marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and piercing rains. A large man covered in shadows is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse, distrustful. You lost? I don't know you, mug. Okay, well, let's try to be friendly or witty. I introduce myself. Good time to know each other. Better remember this, mug friend. It's going to stay around for a while. I introduce myself. That sounds a little confrontational. I'm Mr. Wolf, the new Roadwarden, and you're the gatekeeper, I assume. Let me ride through. I'm only ask once. Explain who I am. I'm not looking for trouble, stranger. Can you open the gate for me? I think I kind of want to be distanced to this guy, but... let's try to be friendly once more. Yeah, I've got not much time, he chuckles weakly, leaning on the parapet. I heard no human voice in days. I'm armed, you know. He sticks out a loaded crossbow. But I'm no enemy, just on duty, guarding. You can hang around, but I've got no ale or water. He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black gambeson so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. Tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandage horizontally covering his ears, the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair, mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all of this, he's of a huge shell, with wide shoulders and thick legs. He crouches, places his crossbow on the wall, and gives you a curious look. You new to wandering? I'm new here, but I know what I'm doing. No past would prepare you for this shit place. Nights are all ape piss and blood. Just before sunrise, a bird tried to pluck my eye. This gate here? He places his hand on a brick, as if to prove it exists. It's older than me. All there. He points behind him. All there? He points behind him. Wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us, and us from them. He scratches the bandage on his cheek. Name's Quintus from Old Pagos. Been there? Not yet. So you don't know. It's west from here, so it's more like to the left somewhere. Behind the crossroads, but it's touched by sickness. He used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall. But some days ago, no one came for me. I spent the night here sneaking wolf shits sneaking wolf shits almost got me. He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip. I went home by myself only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. What do you know about the Lig? Not much. It kills. That's all there is to know. My tribe's smart in locking the gate. The right gave them strength. Shouldn't you look for a real shelter? Trembles, his eyes widen. Someone has got to stay at the gate. The villagers in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods. Hit the closed gate while fleeing some wolves and stuff. Rubs his dirty neck. I also can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it. My duty fulfilled. You could at least spend the nighttime in one of the villages. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle. I'm not a beggar. The villagers in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex. He bats his crossbow. Old Pagos is by itself. We don't look for our kind folks. He thinks for a moment. I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done, or before winter. Look at his disfigured face. He's either mad or dumb. He may be a bit too proud, but knows more about the locals than I do. I think that's the case. He glances at the lamb. You understand, I'm sure, wardens are souls of duty. I'm surprised you survived for this long. Well, you can't call it surviving. I call it potions. He chuckles, makes him wince in pain. He puts a hand on his stomach and leans away. Beast took me for easy prey, but the good monks from the mountains equipped our guards well. They're helping our ill, but used to brew all sorts of stuff. His head moves to an earthenware bottle by his belt. Oh, that's good to know. Here, see? He points at the long, twisted rope that hangs from an iron hook. I could climb down and remove the beam on the other side. You'll take down yours. You need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need you to give me aught first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe. Dried meat, apples, nuts, maybe. Sizes you up. 3 meals, and I'll help you with the gate. Now you have time to hunt? Time, but I've got to stay near the gate. You can't keep people waiting while I track deer. He touches the bandage on his face, and if I die, there will be no one left to keep no keeper left. I'll go with you. I take the trophies, you get the meat for roasting. Shoot some birds with your crossbow. Surely they land on the wall. You could forage for nuts and berries. How about I pay you instead? But whatever you like in our villages. Man. I think we'll just come back another time, but... Let's see. We have this... Well, we don't really have much supplies right now. He wants 3. I'll go with you, I'll take trophies, you get the meat for roasting. My goblins and trolls can smell the burning fat. Roasting is the opposite of what I should do. Shoot some birds with crossbows, surely they'll land on the wall. Not much of a shot, really. He scratches right on. I'd rather save my arrows for all the beasts and stuff. Yeah, makes sense. I can get you some corals to fix your problem for longer. We do have that in great supply. His eyes widen, but then his lips form an annoyed grimace. He spits on the ground side. Shit, Ward, forget it. I'll find autumn on my own. I'm looking for a Styrian. That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. You sure he's not dead? After you admit that, he very much may be. He puts a hand on his waist. We'll better get ready to slit open every dragon probably in the wilds. Do you often travel through the woods? Sure, though on a different mount. He had a saurian 4 ibexes long, 2 ibexes tall. Moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's dark green like rotting leaves. At one time I was taking a piss in the shrubs, and a Styrian made the beast run up on the rock face. And it jumped on that. He points at that hill. And like they ran above the wall, landed on the other side, just like that. He snaps his fingers, his voice and eyes gain new vigor. They say the saurian was large and green. I mean, not everywhere. He points at the eyebrows. He has red scales here, and on the tail and shoulders. I think. I don't know what to call it. You ask him for a bit about Asterion, but he has a little to add. There used to be 6 of us keepers. I saw him every now and then, but not that often. What can you tell me behind the gate? Not much. He turns it into a cough. It leads through lowlands, mostly woods and some ponds. It's dark and lethal. He mentions tales of ghosts, dragons, fogs, and blood mages. Whatever you ask about any creature in particular, his response is vague and brief. The tribes abandoned this path ever since the war. Their trade has been slow. People refuse to patrol it. The plants are getting taller, but for at least for a few more seasons, it's still a shortcut. It's good that you have a mount. If it chases you, you always stay close to the pass and ride as fast as you can. So this is a shortcut to somewhere, but I'm not sure where. If no one uses this road, why are you here? I think we already asked that before. Not no one, it's where people hunt for monsters, and every few days I have to open it for reasons. It's a light to live in Pagos. He opens his mouth, giving you a puzzled look. Let's add a weak chuckle. What am I to say? We've got rocks. He taps the wall. Make houses, bowls, tools. We sell them too. We grow oats and broad beans. Ibexes give us wool and skins for monks. What do you call it? The one you write on. Okay. They make paper, right? Or parchment. He moves on when you mention parchment. Yeah. It's a good place. Beautiful old hill. That's what Pagos means. Old hill. When you bring up the monastery, his eyes get brighter. Good people. They came here on a mission, teaching us Wright's book. My grandparents were pagans, you know, but we now follow the river of truth. We keep to ourselves, but help others when they need us. I've heard about bandits. Were they bothering you? He scratches the bandage on his cheek. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw them. Are you afraid of Glosia? He straightens up and gives you a long look. I don't know who you're talking about. He definitely knows who we're talking about. It seems like everybody's protecting her in this part of the woods, right? But seriously, you're tempting the forest. You need to seek shelter. Nah, he waves it off with a smile. But once he speaks, his voice cracks. And where would I go anyway? Hell to the north has plenty of space. Know what? I wouldn't mind spending time with Dalit and her crew, especially the winter. But forget it, I can't afford even that. Unless they're looking for a pair of hands, I better stay here. So the thing that stops you from going to Pelt right away is dragon bones. I mean, that's a pretty big thing. In the north, everyone looks after themselves. The hunters may be friends, but I won't beg them for help. I could ask the innkeep to let him stay for labor. Okay, let's return to this later. About your duty. Okay. Let's go talk to the Pelt to the north. Like, how much time do we got? 13 hours and 45 days? Or 45 minutes? Yeah. I mean, it's a new day, right? So, maybe let's even go to the ruins, check on our fish trap, you know? We don't need to wash ourselves. We're pretty clean. You're clean and tidy. We caught 3 fish. Amazing. Let's return to... go back to Pelt to the north. See if we can get some stuff from him. Get off the horse and enter the inn. Let's talk about this gatekeeper, Quintus. He looks at his mug listening to your tale. So what do you expect me to do with him once he's here? He can handle some easy tasks. Ask him to be on the lookout for the beasts and travelers. He's brave, strong, and soul. He could assist your hunters on their trips. Yeah. We use our wits and traps, not so much brute force, but I guess you're right. A fierce fighter may have use. He rubs his arm and reaches for a piece of roasted lizard. Bring him here. I offer him gruel in a corner to sleep, and I'll pay him once he helps us catch some worthy game. Okay, cool. Do I have anything you would like to buy? Forget it. I see what you've got. He doesn't want our fish. Now put it on the counter, if you may. He glances at your catch, then at the stove. My crew doesn't hunt for fish. The lakes and rivers are too far away. And they ain't trained with all the weaving, worms, and rods. Sell me 2 at once and I'll give you a coin. They ain't wasting the firewood on just 1. We have 3. So yeah, I guess that's a way to make money. Deal. That's all. Okay. Sold 2 fish for a ring. And then let's look at our inventory real quick. Inventory, return. So we now have 3 rings. We still have that 1 raw fish. But we can barter it for another food, right? That's all I need. Let's go outside and go back to that guy and see if he will get off that tower for us. So let's travel back. Oh, you know what? We should reset our trap, huh? Oh well. Oops, we went too far. Shit. I don't have time to talk. Greetings, Roadwarden. What brings news? Okay. I'm broke. No, that's not what I want. Travel. Where was it? This wall, right? The gate. I mean, we going this way is correct anyway. About your duty. Lawson will allow you to stay at his inn. He'll even pay you after you help the hunters on one of the more vicious trips. Crosses his arms, still hesitant. Won't be more risky than this place, and I'll finally have some time to rest a bit. But what before that? Am I to live on the oats and water and rags? If you're really this desperate for coins, I could spare you a few enough for you to get comfortable at the end. Steps away. You already helped me quite a bit. I can't ask you for that. I need to pay him at least 16 coins to make him head to the inn. Maybe I could make him trust me some more. Okay. About your duty. Open the gate. No. I didn't do it. You lift the bar on your side of the gate and wait for Quintus. You hear him pressing his feet to the wall as he climbs down with the help of his rope. Getting on the ground swiftly, he gives you a serious look from the opening gate. Safe travels, Warden. Travel as far east as I can. This won't be the best run, for sure. The forest gives way to rocks and green hills, but among the tall trees are numerous monkeys, sitting in small groups, loud yet shorter than half your size. They distort the green leaves with red, brown, and white and blue fur. As you approach the territory, their excitement grows. They climb up and down the trunks, sway in vines, jump between branches, or hang down, putting to use their long tails. They throw at you countless angry glances and grunts, but also cones, branches, and chestnuts. Well, luckily they're not throwing poop at us, you know, their own feces. A piece of their fresh... Oh, of course. A piece of their fresh feces lands close to lamb, but the pack's aim is rather miserable. 2 precise shots from a crossbow should be enough to discourage them. Let's not get dirty. Loading a crossbow from the saddle isn't easy, but you've got time. You catch the second quarrel with your teeth, aim carefully, and pull the trigger. The colorful beast falls down in silence. The companions point at the shaken shell, shouting as it doesn't move. The panic spreads through the troop, giving you time to reload. Soon another creature hits the ground, this time screaming in pain. The monkeys flee through the trees and either hide behind the trunks or observe you from denser leaves. That'll teach them to fuck with me, right? I ride forward, shaking my weapon in the air. Every minute or so, you get lost in the dense woods. When possible, you stick to the remains of a beaten path, clearing the overgrown thicket that blocks your way. It would take more travelers to sustain such a trail. Land around you may lack greens, but is far from being empty. The fallen boughs and dead stumps are slowly devoured by ants and mushrooms. A web-like labyrinth of wooden walls, while the termites larger than your hands continue their never-ending march. Your guards notice your presence, but simply form a warning line in front of their workers. The trees are taller than the temple in the city, with trunks resembling the legs of giants. The shadows they cast are a carpet, and the few beams of light nourish the spare brushes and ferns. The only plants that aren't choked by the rotting late summer leaves, shaped like toothed squares as large as your face. Now that I'm more familiar with this part of the forest, I may be able to find a smoother path. Cool. Road is bright, empty, surrounded by sparsely growing trees, gentle hills and meadows. Leads you to a cairn, a pile of rocks ranging in size from your abdomen to your fist. There's also quite a few tiny pebbles. A narrow, hardly passable trail leads south, but likely won't survive another year without travelers. Let's take a look at this card. It's wider than two people standing side by side and taller than lamb. The grass surrounds it tightly. It must be years old, but could just as well be older than any village in the north. You find rocks in many colors, including red, cream, white, black, and blue, many dotted or mixed ones. Where the cairn stays firmly beneath your touch, it would be easy to shatter it with a pickaxe or a single swipe of a dragon. You also notice pieces of old chicken bones pressed among the rocks. Unfortunately, no coins. Step away. So maybe if we had a pickaxe, we could get some colorful stones. Take the narrow path to the south. Grab Lamb's lead and use your axe to get through the branches and tall grass. After a few minutes, you reach a colorful meadow with orange, red, and white flowers as tall as the wheat field. The late summer scent lures all sorts of insects as well as tiny birds. The path ends at the edge of the glade. Bird and ape may get me from above. I move forward but keep an eye on the closest trees. A cat could leap at me from among the flowers. I keep looking around. A snake might bite my leg. I don't trust this place. Oh my god. It is. We're getting towards dusk too. That's not great. Let's just move forward. Fuck this place. You tether your mount to a tree and tread forward carefully, keeping your eyes and weapon high. Soon the nurse birds flee from your scream. You reach to your side and look down on a 100-legged worm as wide as your fist, maybe 3 feet long, has crawled underneath your gambit and chewed off a bit of your flesh. Ew. You pull it by its tail, and stretch out your arm. Your creature wiggles in the air, incapable of bending its shell enough to scratch your hand. It's red, covered with armor made of plates. You throw it away and touch the hole that it left in your clothes. There's hardly any blood. Well, we're still clean, but our armor and our clothing are messed up. I seek anything of value among the plants. Your steps force the mice and insects to spread, but your presence remains hardly noticed by the colorful life around you. I don't know anything about herbs. Oh, okay. So an herbalist, the alchemist, I guess, would know more about this. I continue my journey. Let's get out of here. Your eyes wander between the wall of trees and shrubs on one side, and the dirty pond on the other. The road itself is wide, covered with soggy logs that keep the ground from turning into mud. It's breaking under your mount's hooves, letting out what sounds like a sigh of relief. The water insufferably stinks of carrion and is covered with a blanket of green plants and white flowers that draw countless buzzing insects. Even a horse shouldn't drink from it. Ugh. Lamb tries to get familiar with the unusual pavement and speeds up to jump over a fallen trunk, blocking her path. Once it lands, it breaks one of the logs in half. Soon after, you reach a massive black saurian resting on the ground, showing the light at the edge of the forest. It seems to be ignoring your presence. Once again, Lamb canters. Well, we can't enter the water. Won't ride through the forest, and I'm not going to fight that thing. Once the monster raises its head, you're already in the air. Beast pushes itself from the ground with its forelimbs, trying to catch any chunk of flesh with its massive jaws. You safely hit the ground and return to a slow trot. Pay attention to the dead trees sticking out of the pond. They look similar to that saurian. This is a dangerous place. I might want to just turn around. The colors of leaves range from greens to purple and overwhelm you with shadows. The stems of shrubs twisted in all directions, seeking the slightest scraps of sunlight. The trees are not too tall, but their trunks are as wide as buildings. A neglected road has been carved into the thicket, an inch at a time. A corridor of plants with a floor made of pebbles that give way to saplings and vines. From time to time you pass by many turns, relics left by roaming dragons, unicorns, and trolls. Some of them are still used by beasts. Boars, striped cats, or packs of goblins. The birds are sharing their songs as cheerful as ever. When necessary, clear any thicket that's in Lamb's way. You reach a gap in the tunnel of plants. The meadow nourishes a lonely tree, growing in the shadow of a rocky hill surrounded by humble grasses. Near the tree roots, a wolf without fur is feasting on a human corpse, unaware of your presence. Let's look at the wolf, I guess. Standing on all fours, crouching forward, tearing away chunks of flesh with the massively canines, its head and especially its jaws are wide and long, like those of a horse. Its brown shell is muscular, pronounced shoulder blades, the hair resembling your arms, and a tuft of black fur at the end of its foot-long tail. The beast raises its head, and its ears are shaking. I mean, I'm just gonna attack it. Why not? Try to sneak up on the beast with an axe. I shoot at it with my crossbow. I'm gonna shoot at it with my crossbow. You got 6 corals left. You have a little time to aim as the large wolf strides towards you. The coral soars forward and the beast whimpers. The blood runs down his shoulder from the deep wound. Freezes for a moment, but then gives you another glance. I wait for its attack, ready to use my advantage. I intimidate with aggressive gestures. Yeah, let's use that. Our first battle with a creature here out here in the woods is a wolf. Fitting, right? For this channel. Walks around with you with a lowered head, seeking an opportunity and getting used to the wound. You hold your axe firmly, trying to tell anything from the creature's black eyes. I can use force here. I hit it with an axe throw, though I won't get fooled twice. Intimidate with aggressive gestures. My Gambison is too torn to help me distract the beast, so we could use that as an option if we wanted to. And we can also gamble by jumping forward and attacking it while avoiding its jaws, and maybe only be one chance to do so, but I throw my axe at it. I mean, we have that option here, but let's do that then. The rotating blade lands between its eyes, cutting through the bone smoothly. For a few heartbeats, the wolf remains still, then tries to take a step. It falls, never to stand up again. After it stops breathing, I pick up my axe. I take a couple of breaths, a deep, slow breaths, and stretch out your arms. Lamb is looking around, stepping in place. Let's look at the beast. I mean, we got our kill, right? Inch-long canines stick out of the saurian-like maw. Its eyes are like 2 pieces of shining charcoal. A male, too large to carry around, too skinny to cut away a nice piece of meat. Let's see. Let's cut ourselves a trophy, I guess. You took the furless wolf's head. Takes a couple of strong hits with your battle axe, but it's not too bad. Grab the head by the ear, avoiding its eyes, and let the creek of blood spill onto the grass. Rotate around for a bit, shaking off as much flesh and scraps of brain as you can. You attach it to your saddle, hoping it won't besmear Lamb. At least it doesn't stench yet. You have a day or two before it starts to rot. Okay. Well, at least we got something out here, right? Something for our troubles. Let's examine the human that the guy killed. Parts of its chest, face, and neck and arms were turned into a red mush. The wolf didn't break any bones, not even the ribs. First worms start to crawl over its blood-soaked clothes. The human was a male with brown skin and short black hair. His brown pants and green jacket were made of dyed leather. It has no sacks, bags, or equipment, but you spot a trail of blood leading into the trees. The creature must have dragged the shell from the deeper woods. Inside the left ear, you spot a trinket made of animal bone. The contrast with the dark skin and lures your eyes away from the blood. Let's take the earring. Picked up a bone earring. A few splashes of water, you wash the cold blood off your hands with a knife. Consider burning the corpse. There's plenty of birds gathering at the edges of the meadow, waiting for you to walk away from their next meal. Larger beasts will come soon. You don't have much time, surely not enough to make a pyre. And spare a few minutes, not more. I mean, hopefully the birds will eat this thing, right? We don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna step away. And ride away. Lamb rushes with you with a snort. Okay. The stream ahead can be crossed by a humble ford made of hundreds of rocks that used to reach from the bottom to the surface. It is now partially demolished, either by time or a living creature. For a rider, crossing it won't be much of a problem, but most travelers would have to take off their pants and shoes. Moving an entire wagon would pose quite a challenge. The water is clean and the banks are low, a good watering spot for Lamb. We can do hard labor here. For now, I ignore it. Okay, good to know. The path leads you uphill. The trees are getting sparser and smaller. More sunlight touches the ground. The signs of human touch are rare. The lone large boulder surely draws attention. I can't guess its age, but the paths around it suggest it was passed plenty of times already. The remains of red paint are covering the eastern side. It's the same message as the one you saw at the southern crossroads. Don't enter. Danger ahead. Look behind you. I sigh relief. Who cares about signs? I made it. I deserve rest and a good bed after that. Your arms and legs are getting heavier. You keep an eye on the road and tell your palfrey to move along. Entering the forest this late is going to be my death. Okay, well. Wow, we made it through all this forest. Crazy. You're currently here. This is supposed to be a shortcut? What kind of shortcut did we do? Shit. Can we get out of here? The path this place you know leads to the heart of the forest. As long as you ride uphill, the forest is sparse. Soon after, the tree roots near the path apart. The road is coated with branches, acorns, leaves, and chestnuts, and some seedlings have already broken through the pitted surface of the road. Left undisturbed for another year or two, the forest will reclaim its place. Finally, you ride upward again. The plants are getting smaller, the road more rocky. I sigh with relief. We made it to another tunnel. Oh shit. Out of that crazy forest. I didn't even mean to do that too, but you need some action and adventure in this story, right? Well, the hills are full of life. You don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows or drop stones on the opponents below. So this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads, since the end of the war. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find enough people and Dragonmounts to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce cold wind. Okay, let's approach the entrance. Take a look at Lamb. If necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. This should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind. When you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes at your push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side, but you also see a large keyhole. Walk around the tower, making sure there are no open windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door. In doing so is going to make a potential entryway for wild creatures. We can't even break the door because we're too weak right now, and we don't have a key. Let's look at the keyhole. You kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. See the shapes of wooden furniture, like tables, casks, and a ladder, but the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in the sunbeams. Let's return to the crossroads. But this looks like a cool place to come back to. We find a large iron key. I take a look at the signpost. The planks and letters are damaged by decades of rains, frost, borers, and claws. Scratch off some of the moss. There are 3 planks on the signpost, each one pointing in a different direction. The letters don't tell you anything. The plank on the top points point south and north, but there are no pictures that would tell you anything more than that. The one beneath it points east, and there's a word written in blue paint. The arrow here looks more like a magic wand. The bottom plank has a picture of a tall tower surrounded by little houses, and points west. The wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. Okay. Let's walk to the gate, I guess. And there's also a fire spot to look at. Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet until it connects with a natural rock face. Such a structure could be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint in which to stop any travelers to search through their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere, deer and other animals used to running here with no hindrance must have been more than annoyed, a risky investment. He touched the gate made of high-quality wood, previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open and you don't see any wooden bar that be used to lock it. You tried to move the cold planks, but buried in dried-out mud. With no look, it would require some heavy, wary digging. Let's take a look among the trees. Must be human-made corpse. Only the smallest of the spruces are out of order. Copse. Oh, it's not a corpse. It's a copose. Copse. I remember. It means like a bunch of trees in a line, right? I forgot how to pronounce that. Are out of order, born of wild seeds. Largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who are meant to observe their surroundings. There are some stumps, most of which used to belong to some young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers, but they were left alone with many years ago. And the copse, I'm going to say copse. You find wild fennel and lettuce thriving in shadows, and there are pears and berries growing among the nearby trees and shrubs. The wild plants here need maybe another week before they're ripe. Okay, we'll come back here in a week. Examine the campfire spot at the fence. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it, even when it's locked. Have we checked out the campfire? Oh, we can cook a fish here. You have one raw fish in your possession. What we'd like to do? Yeah, let's cook the fish. Takes you a good few minutes before the fire gets started, then grow strong enough for you to cook. Meantime, you prepare the captured creature. You cut down the stomach, remove the guts with your fingers, and pierce through the animal with a pointed stick. Keeping at a safe distance, you roast it slowly until it both looks and smells prepared. We'll gather firewood for another day, but can we seek shelter here? It's too dangerous to stay here. Okay. Step away. And we have 15 minutes before dusk. I guess we're gonna have to seek shelter. That's not good. Yeah. If we try to travel at night, it would be a bad idea. It looks like this place connects to here, right? And there's more places to explore. Yeah, we can't explore, it says. Shit. Well, we're gonna seek shelter. Seek shelter here, I guess. Tula welcomes you with a smile. Is everything alright? You hear the soldiers' loud discussion as you carry buckets of water. I have more questions. How did we make it here? Okay. Approach the barrel with water. You need 2 pieces of bathing equipment. I'm as clean as I can get. So apparently we somehow made it back over here. Managed to get through the heart of the woods too. But we're gonna have to save here. And I'll see you guys later in the next one. Somehow we survived the night, right?